Okay guys, so we are going to learn APM. APM is a UI automation tool, right? But before we start understanding APM, let's understand what is UI automation tool. Okay, what is UI automation tool and what is backend automation tool? Backend automation tool, like for example, Postman or Rest Assured, etc. Okay, now let's understand the difference. Now when we test any application, right, we have mainly two kinds of test cases to deal with: UI automation test cases and backend component test cases. Now what are UI test cases? Okay, UI test cases means the test cases which we run by interacting with the interface of our application. That is what UI test cases. Let's call them as UI test cases instead of calling UI automation. Okay, UI test cases and backend component test cases. So UI test cases where we interact with the, okay, we need to interact with interface of our application, right? And backend test cases means testing such a components from our application. They are part of our application only, but they don't have any UI interfaces. Okay, so those components would be web services, or REST API test cases, REST API services, or REST APIs we will call them as, right? So the test cases which we execute by interacting with the interface of our application, they are called UI test cases. And the test cases which we execute against the components of our application which don't have any UI to interact with them, so those test cases which we perform against such components are backend component test cases. So in short, we don't interact with any UI controls for running those test cases. Okay, now let's understand the difference between UI automation versus backend automation, and how this tool perform, like how do they work. Now UI automation, like in our UI automation test case, what we do is, like I'll give you an example. Let's say this is a calculator application. Now I want to test its addition functionality. So how would I test it? Like I will click on this button to, I'm doing here the UI interactions guys on different controls, to, plus, to, equal to, right? So as soon as I press equal to, then I get 4 here. So what I do is I just read out the value which is shown in this field, and I just check whether it is correct or not, right? So this is how we interact with the interface. When we run any test case manually, any UI test case manually, we interact with the different UI controls of our application, right? So how am I interacting? I am first locating which element I want to interact with on my interface, and then how I am interacting with it with different UI interactions like clicking, typing, selecting. So these are the UI interactions we perform, right? So this is how we run UI automation test case manually. Now if I want to automate this test case, then we need to use UI automation tools. Now there are various UI automation tools available, right? UI automation tools we need, right? There are various UI automation tools like Selenium, then UFT, test complete, then Ranorex, and there are many more. The common thing in these tools is they actually work on certain UI automation principles. We will talk about them in short, but UI automation principles are very important to understand here, guys. Before we learn any UI automation tool, whether it be Selenium, UFT, APM, or anything, we should be very clear about the principles they work on. Okay, we will discuss them shortly. So UI automation tools are these. Now, how do they work? Like, when we run any test manually, any UI automation test manually, we interact with different UI controls. So first, what we do as a human, we first understand which control I want to interact with. So based on, let's say I have a test case written in certain test case documents. So there they are mentioned, click on button 2. So as a human being, when I'll execute this test case, what I'll do first, I'll first try to locate the control 2. Out of these many controls, I'll first identify which control is the one which is referred in the test case. So this is the control. Then what test case says, click on it. So test case has that instruction as well, that I need to click. So as a human being, while running any step of my automation, any step of my test case manually, I first identify the element on the UI and then I interact with the control. This is the same way UI automation tools interact, guys. Okay, now let's understand how do they do it. So for my any UI automation tool, whether it be Selenium, UFT, Test Complete, or if we go to the mobile tools like CTest, Eggplant, or anything, any tool, like these are all work on UI automation principles. So the first principle of UI automation is that UI automation tool should be able to identify the UI control on the screen. So the identification of UI element is the first and foremost thing the tool does. Second point is we should instruct our UI automation tool to do to perform the required interaction. Okay, now the question comes here, how do UI automation tool would be able to identify the element? Because element identification is the first and foremost thing for it, right? Now let's understand how does UI automation tool do it. So UI automation tool identifies the element based on three techniques. UI automation tools use. Which are those three techniques? Okay, first is image based identification. Second, native identification. And third, relational identification. Right? So image based identification, native identification, and relational identification. These are the three techniques which any UI automation tool uses. Now we are going to understand each technique one by one. Okay. So what is image based identification? Now my automation tool wants to identify the element first on the screen. So how would it identify? First technique, image based. So what is image based? So in image based, what the tool does, like at the time of when we want our tool to identify this element as for the purpose of our test case, what we need to do is we have to capture the image of this and we have to give that image to the tool. Okay, so this process is called learning process. Learning means what automation tool is doing here, it is collecting the data which it will use to identify the elements when it will execute the script. Okay, learning it is called as. So in the learning phase, it will capture the image and it will store it in its repository, in its collection. Now when I'll run my script, and the script says that click on the button 9. So there what tool will do, it will fetch the image of this element from its collection. It will come to this screen of my application, and it will check here which area of my application is matching to the image which it has got in its collection as button 9. So it will match here. This particular area will get matched with the image what my tool has with it. And then it will identify this area as a button 9 element. Okay, so if the tool is using the image for identifying the elements, then it is called as image based identification. Okay, now there are few problems with the image based identification. Now let's talk about those problems. Let's first understand one analogy here, that I want to identify certain person from the group. Okay, so I have one way is to identify that person based on his look. Okay, and let's say I have got the photo of that person with me. So what I'll do, I'll go to that group. I have the photo of a person to whom I want to identify. So what I'll do there, I'll just check the photo which I have, and I'll just check the faces of the people standing out there in that group. So the person whose face is matching exactly to the photo I have, I'll identify that person as an expected person. But let's assume that if that person, when the photo I have of that person, but at that time he was not having any pimple on his cheek, but now he has got a pimple on his cheek now. Now the photo which I have, it doesn't have anything on the cheek, right? But now when I am going there in that group to identify that person has got a pimple now. Now I won't be able to identify that person based on his or her photo, because the image or the photo which I have and the current status of that person's face, it's not exactly matching. So in image based identification, the photo what you have and that person's face should match as is. If there is any difference, a slight difference may invalidate the identification. The same thing happens in case of UI automation. If you are using image for identifying the elements, so there, if the look of the control is changed from past, so you had an image of that tool from past where the background color of this particular control used to be white. Okay, so in your image what you have stored with the tool, it has got a white in background, but now developer has changed the background of this control to black. Now if there is a difference in the image what tool has and the current display of that element in your application, the tool won't be able to identify that element as expected element. Even the slightest change, here we talked about the real difference where the image contains white and the current background color of the the element is black. So here there is a huge difference. So in case of huge difference, it won't be identifying. But even the slightest change, maybe in terms of pixel resolution, so even the slightest change in the display of a control may invalidate the identifications with your tool, right? So image based identification is quite dicey. CTest is one of the one of the mobile automation tool which I have worked on, which used to support only image based identification. And we were facing a lot of challenges that time, that after updating the Android OS, the controls display used to get changed, and we had to maintain our tests for the identification purpose that time, right? So image based identification is quite dicey in this sense. Now for desktop automation, like automating desktop based Windows desktop based, applications, there is a tool called Sikuli. So Sikuli is also works on the same principles, image based identification. So image based identification is quite dicey, guys. Even a slightest change in the display of the control may invalidate your identifications, right? So that is image based. Now let's understand what is native identification, our second technique. So native identification is where automation tool identifies the element not based on its look and feel, but based on its physical attributes. Like the way we identify any person, okay, we can identify any person based on his or her physical attributes as long as that person has got some unique physical attribute. Okay, let's understand the analogy first, and then we will understand how native identification works in the context of UI automation. So there is again a group standing out there. Now I want to identify some person over there. Now I am working as a UI automation tool. My brain is where I am going to store the identification data. So my brain, we will call it as an object repository where the identification data of the person would be stored, and the person standing on in that group is UI control on the screen. Okay, so now if some person wants me to go there to the group and hand over some message to that person, so I will ask the one who is instructing me to do that. I'll ask him or her, okay, just describe that person. Okay, so he'll say that person is of 6 feet height. So based on this attribute, I'll just look at the group. Now what I'm doing a learning process. Learning means I'm collecting the required identification information which I can use to identify that person and then perform the given task. Okay, so I'm in the learning process now. So I'm collecting the identification data. So I have collected one identification property, that is height 6 feet. So I'll just have a look at that group and I'll try to locate that person. I'll try to identify that person whom this person I would be able to identify. So if there are more than one people standing out there with height 6 feet, then I won't be able to identify that person uniquely, isn't it? So I need few more properties of that person, which the bunch of properties, if the single property is not helping me out here to uniquely identify that person, that's fine. But then I need a bunch of properties here which will stand out that person from rest of the people. So the next property is, say, spec. So he has won the spec. So I've got the two properties. Now I'll again check the group. Now I've got two properties. Now based on these two properties, let's say I'm able to identify that person uniquely. So yeah, so this is what the native identification. So here I'm identifying the person based on his or her physical attributes. So physical attributes could be height, color, skin color, skin color, gender. So these are the physical attributes, and we just need to collect those many physical attributes which will allow us to identify that person uniquely. Unique identification is very important here, right? Otherwise I will get confused to whom should I go and give this message to. Likewise, in UI automation tools uses the attributes set to them by the designer to identify the controls. So what kind of attributes designer set? They set different attributes like ID, name, it could be class, right? So few of the attributes are responsible for giving the look and feel to the control. Few of them are responsible for giving the behavior to that control. But what the tool needs is, it needs one or a bunch of properties which will allow it to identify the UI control uniquely on the screen. So if it is using the attributes or properties set to the control for identifying the element, then it is using native identification technique. So that is the second technique. Now let's understand the third one, that is relational. So relational identification means, let's say if I am identifying certain person not based on his image, not based on his physical attributes, but I am identifying him based on the relationship he has with the other person. Okay, and that other person with whom he has a relationship, I know that person. Let's say I know the father of the person I want to actually identify. So how would I identify that person? I'll say son of X, or brother of X, or sister of X, or husband of X, or wife of X. So if I am using the relationship to identify any person, I am using relational identification. So in UI automation also, automation tools uses, or they can use, relationship. So for example, here now I want to identify this element, but let's assume that I don't get any attributes which will help me to identify this element uniquely. I don't want to go with the image identification, because image identifications are dicey for the reasons we discussed previously. So how would I identify this element? Then I will say the element which is sibling of this element, which is element 8. So I'll say I just want to work on the following sibling, as this is the element which is in the same parent that of this. So inside the same the parent hierarchy they are in. So I will say following sibling of it, or some kind of in relationship I'll just try to make out here, right? And if I am using, for identifying this element, if I am making use of the relationship it is having with any other element on my screen, then I am making here use of relational identification. So the tools, they do identify the elements based on the relationship, which is called relational identification. And there usually comes the real power of XPath. So XPath allows us to create the different XPath queries based on the XPath axis, following sibling, preceding sibling. So where we can make use of the relational identification for finding the elements, right? So this is how UI automation tools identify the elements and work with them.